So my speech is about the problems of gambling. I'm sure you all know gambling can be extremely addictive. So I guess, is the chance of winning big really worth the dangerous consequences that it can inflict? My mom's side of the family had a history of gambling addictions and destroyed their lives. My grandpa also had a problem with gambling. So yeah, I think many young people don't truly know how slippery a slope gambling is. Gambling can lead to poor mental health, poor relationships, and financial ruin, which is why it's so dangerous, especially to younger people. Do you know that gambling addicts have a higher suicide rate than any other kind of addict? According to the Georgia Department of Behavioral Health and Development Disabilities, it's estimated that 70 to 76% of pathological gamblers have a lifetime history of depression. The DBHDD also says that those who attempt to commit suicide are 4 times as likely to be PAGs, pathological gamblers. They're also 5 to 10 times more likely to attempt suicide than people in the general population. So what exactly is pathological gambling? The National Library of Medicine defines pathological gambling, also known as compulsive gambling, as a mental disorder that is characterized by a pattern of continued gambling despite negative physical, psychological, and social consequences. Most often, it starts in the early adolescence of men between the ages of 20 and 40 for women. This means that pathological gambling is most likely to develop in younger people. As serious as this is, not enough people are fighting against gambling, with many people actually idolizing it. Moving on, gambling can also lead to poor relationships between friends and family. Similar to how drug addictions lead to lies, secrecy, and deception, gambling can have the same effect. According to the National Library of Medicine, pathological gamblers have higher rates of divorce compared to non-pathological gamblers, at around 53.5%. This is likely due to a combination of lies, financial debt, and emotional absenteeism. Researchers also found that pathological gamblers unintentionally contribute to the development of future pathological gamblers due to environmental and hereditary factors. The NLM says that genetic studies have shown connections between pathological gamblers and specific allele variations that provide enough evidence to show that pathological gamblers or gambling can be passed on to succeeding generations. The only real solution to this issue is to raise awareness about gambling and try to get people, especially those with family history of compulsive gambling, to avoid it as a whole. Finally, gambling most obviously can lead to financial issues. According to the National Library of Medicine, researchers found that 18.2% of pathological gamblers interviewed had declared bankruptcy with an average debt of $42,750. And this spanned from as low as $17,000 all the way to $80,000. Then researchers replicated the study 2 years later and found an even higher percentage of pathological gamblers that filed for bankruptcy, which was roughly around 22.8%. The average debt in this study came out to be $53,103, ranging from as little as $5,000 all the way to crazy $250,000. This could indicate that gambling addictions are becoming more prominent, but there's not enough evidence to confidently accept this is true. If you think about it, the financial issues that gambling causes are the heart of the problem. It starts with losing money, then the lying and secrecy to try to cover up the loss. Then it builds into an addiction through the gambler's fallacy. Gambler's fallacy is the idea that that the more one outcome happens, the less likely it is to occur in the future. For example, let's say you're playing a game with 50-50 odds, and you lose 3 times in a row. In your head, you're probably thinking something like, "Wow, I just lost 3 times in a row. There's no way I lose again." That right there is the gambler's fallacy. Your chances of winning or losing always remain the same, no matter how many times a specific outcome has occurred. It's easy to get roped in, which is why you should try to avoid gambling at all costs. However, if you are going to gamble, just be extremely cautious. If you or someone you know is struggling with a gambling disorder, don't be afraid to seek professional help. And if you're someone who gambles for fun, try to be aware of the issues previously discussed to avoid damaging your relationships with friends and family. It's easy to tell yourself that you're in control, but it only takes one big loss to start the downward spiral. All right.